If a person's silence screams louder than their words, you must learn to listen. Because sometimes the greatest heartbreak is not being unloved. It is wasting your love on someone who chooses to ignore it. There is a truth that must be remembered, a truth that cannot be erased no matter who chooses to ignore you, dismiss you, or turn away from you. Your value does not decrease because they cannot see it. Too often, people measure their worth by the attention they receive, by the applause they are given, by the recognition others choose to offer. But what happens when the crowd is silent? What happens when the person you long to notice you looks away as if you are invisible? Too many hearts break under the weight of that silence. Too many souls begin to believe that if no one sees them, they must not matter. But my dear, your worth is not in their sight. Your worth is in your being. Think of the ocean. Whether anyone stands on the shore or not, the ocean still roars. The waves still move with power. The tides still answer to the moon. It does not need an audience to prove its strength. So it is with you. Whether the world claps for you or not, you are still vast, still powerful, still filled with depth beyond measure. Do not let the blindness of others convince you to shrink. Do not let their failure to see stop you from shining. There are people who walk through museums and pass by priceless art without a second glance. There are people who hold ancient coins, rare and irreplaceable, and see nothing but metal. And yet those objects do not lose their value simply because the untrained eye cannot recognize their worth. So why then do you allow someone's inability to see your greatness make you question if you have any at all? It is not your job to convince the blind to see. It is not your task to drag someone into the awareness of your beauty, your brilliance, your power. If they cannot see, it is their limitation, not your flaw. Too many lives are wasted chasing validation, begging for acknowledgement, exhausting themselves trying to earn from others what was already written into their soul from the beginning. You were born worthy. Long before anyone applauded, long before anyone rejected, long before anyone whispered your name with love or spat it with contempt, you carried value. It cannot be erased, it cannot be reduced, it cannot be stolen by someone's refusal to acknowledge it. There are some people who will never see you, not because you are not shining, but because their eyes are closed. There are some who cannot recognize love no matter how freely you give it, because their hearts are locked. There are some who will never honor loyalty no matter how faithfully you show up, because they do not know how to receive it. And yet, their blindness, their closedness, their unawareness does not diminish who you are. It only exposes what they lack. If you hand a pearl to someone who only knows stones, they may toss it aside as worthless. If you offer gold to someone who only understands dirt, they may not recognize its gleam. But the pearl does not stop being rare. The gold does not stop being precious. And you must not stop believing in yourself because someone else lacks the wisdom to value you. There is freedom in knowing this truth. Freedom from the chains of approval, freedom from the exhausting chase of validation, freedom from the constant fear of rejection. When you understand that your worth is independent of their recognition, you no longer bend yourself into shapes that were never meant for you. You no longer silence your voice to fit into spaces that were never built for you. You no longer sacrifice your joy to sit at tables where your presence is ignored. When you know your value, you learn to walk away. You learn to stop knocking on closed doors, begging them to open. You learn to stop standing in rooms where your spirit is invisible. You learn to stop offering your heart to those who only know how to trample it. And instead, you begin to rise. You begin to walk with dignity. You begin to live with the quiet confidence that says, I am enough as I am. Your worth is not measured in likes, in followers, in claps, in compliments, in returned calls, or answered messages. Your worth is not found in being chosen by the one you longed for, in being remembered by the one who forgot you, in being loved by the one who left you. Your worth is not tied to their presence or their absence. Your worth is eternal, unchanging, rooted in the very breath of life that flows through you. And yet so many forget, so many crumble at the first sign of dismissal. A cold shoulder feels like proof of inadequacy. A missed text feels like evidence of unworthiness. But what if I told you that none of that has the power to alter who you are? A diamond does not become glass simply because someone mistook it for a stone. The sun does not lose its fire simply because someone closed their curtains. The flower does not stop blooming simply because no one stops to admire it. And so you too must keep shining, keep blooming, keep rising, whether or not anyone notices. Your value is not a negotiation. It is not up for debate. It is not given by man, and it cannot be taken away by man. Those who cannot see you are not your judges. Those who ignore you are not your measure. Those who dismiss you are not the final word. You are the final word. Your Creator has already spoken your value into existence, and no act of man can silence it. Do not spend your life explaining your worth to those determined not to understand. Do not waste your heart chasing people who treat your soul like a shadow. Stand firm in the truth of who you are. For when you stop begging others to see your value, you will begin to see it yourself. And when you finally see it, nothing and no one will ever be able to take it away again. There are answers in this world that do not come wrapped in words. There are truths that arrive not in declarations, not in arguments, not in long speeches, but in silence. Too many hearts suffer because they refuse to hear what silence is already saying. They wait for explanations, for confessions, for apologies, for clarity that never comes, when all along the silence has been speaking louder than words ever could. Silence is not empty. It is filled with meaning. It is an answer, and you must learn to hear it. When someone ignores you, they are telling you something, even if they never form the words. When calls go unanswered, when messages are left unread, when your presence is met with absence, the silence is not neutral. It carries weight. It speaks of priority. It speaks of choice. It speaks of where their heart does not dwell. And yet so often we cover our ears to this truth, preferring to hold on to hope, to excuse neglect, to pretend that silence is simply noise waiting to be broken. But silence in its own way is complete. It is already the answer. Think of a tree in winter. No leaves, no blossoms, no fruit. The branches stand bare and cold. You do not look at that tree and expect it to suddenly feed you. You accept that the season has spoken. Silence is like that winter tree. It reveals the truth of what is no longer there. You can ignore it. You can stand by it, waiting for flowers that will not come. But the silence has already told you, there is nothing to be gathered here. We are taught to cherish words. Words of love, words of comfort, words of explanation. And yes, words can heal, they can build, they can guide. But silence also holds its own power. Silence is a declaration. When someone chooses not to speak, not to answer, not to respond, they have still chosen. That choice must not be overlooked. Do not rewrite their silence into the story you wish to hear. Do not invent meaning where the absence of meaning is the meaning itself. So many of us become interpreters of the unspoken, bending silence into hope. We say they must be busy, they must be hurt, they must need time. And while sometimes those things may be true, often silence is the plainest truth there is. They are not coming, they are not choosing you, they are not invested in keeping you close. And the tragedy is not their silence, but your refusal to hear it. When someone loves you, truly loves you, silence does not linger. When someone cares for you, silence is not their answer. Even in distance, even in struggle, even in hardship, love finds a way to speak. It does not abandon you in the dark, but when love is absent, when affection is shallow, when interest has faded, silence becomes the only voice left. And that voice, though quiet, is loud enough to free you if you let it. The problem is that too many of us confuse silence with mystery. We call it complicated. We say we don't understand. But silence is not complicated. It is clarity. It may hurt, it may not be what you wanted, but it is clear. And once you learn to hear it, you no longer waste your time waiting on echoes that will never come. You learn to move forward. You must begin to honor yourself enough to accept silence as closure. Stop demanding explanations from those who have already told you, in their quiet withdrawal, what you need to know. Stop holding your breath for words that will never arrive. Sometimes the most merciful thing you can do for your own heart is to take silence as the full sentence it is and walk away. The silence of others is not always cruelty. Sometimes it is indifference. Sometimes it is their own inability to face you, their own fear of truth, their own failure of courage. But whatever the root, it is still a message. It says, this is not where your love should rest. This is not where your time should stay. This is not where your soul will flourish. To ignore that message is to betray yourself. There is a silence that wounds, but there is also a silence that heals. The silence that wounds is theirs, the silence of neglect, of disregard, of dismissal. But the silence that heals is yours. The silence you embrace when you finally stop chasing answers that will not come. The silence you choose when you sit with yourself and realize that peace is better than pursuit, dignity is better than desperation, and clarity is better than confusion. When you stop filling the air with questions, excuses, and longing, you finally hear the gentle truth your soul has been whispering all along. You deserve more than this. Do not mistake noise for love, and do not mistake silence for uncertainty. When someone refuses to acknowledge you, when they meet your care with emptiness, believe them. Believe the silence. It is not your job to translate their refusal into hope. It is not your task to turn their absence into presence. Your task is to honor what is revealed to you, to accept what is spoken without words, and to choose yourself when they choose not to. The hardest thing, perhaps, is that silence rarely comes with ceremony. There is no final bow, no grand closing, no dramatic goodbye. It just drifts in. Calls grow less frequent. Words grow shorter. Presence fades. And then one day, there is nothing but silence. And because there is no announcement, we convince ourselves that perhaps it is temporary. But the truth is that the quiet ending is still an ending. The silence is still the answer. And you must learn to honor that ending, even if it comes without punctuation. Life becomes lighter when you stop demanding words from those who have nothing to say. Life becomes clearer when you stop waiting for explanations from those who have already given their answer in silence. And life becomes freer when you trust silence as the teacher it is, a teacher that says, not here, not them, not anymore. There is a weariness that seeps into the bones when you spend your days chasing after attention that was never meant to stay. There is a hunger that never finds satisfaction when you beg for eyes that turn away the moment you approach. Attention that must be chased is not attention worth keeping, for anything that demands you to run endlessly after it was never truly yours to begin with. So many people waste the fire of their spirit trying to hold on to those who keep slipping away. They exhaust themselves calling out, only to be answered with indifference. They twist themselves into shapes unrecognizable just to catch the glance of someone who will never look long enough to see them. But attention that is borrowed through effort, through pleading, through constant pursuit, is fragile. It shatters the moment you stop running. Love in its truest form does not need to be hunted. Affection, when it is real, does not hide itself like prey waiting to be caught. You should not need to spend your life out of breath, chasing after someone's acknowledgement. For attention that vanishes when you stop running is not love, not care, not respect. It is only a mirage in the desert of longing. You run toward it thinking it will quench you, but the moment you arrive, it disappears, and you are left thirsty once again. You must understand this. Anything you have to fight for just to be seen will never sustain you. If you must beg for their notice, beg for their time, beg for their words, then you are not receiving love. You are feeding on crumbs, and crumbs, no matter how many you gather, will never equal a feast. You were not born to survive on leftovers of someone else's distracted gaze. You were born to sit at a table of abundance, to be met with eyes that see you without effort, without hesitation, without running. Think of the sun. It does not chase the earth. It rises in its place, steady, certain, and the earth turns to it. The light is not diminished if someone chooses to close their blinds. The warmth is not lessened if one person hides in the shade. The sun knows its own power. It shines whether it is seen or not. This is how love should be. Love that is real does not hide, does not run, does not make you chase. It simply is. And when it is yours, it meets you where you stand. Yet how many of us have confused pursuit with passion? How many of us have mistaken the thrill of the chase for the depth of true love? We believe that running after someone proves our devotion, when in reality it only proves our desperation. We believe that their elusiveness makes them valuable, when in truth it only reveals their unwillingness to give. The attention that makes you sweat, that makes you ache, that makes you question yourself, is not the treasure you think it is. It is a chain, and it binds you to emptiness. Attention worth keeping is mutual. It is given, not extracted. It flows naturally, not forcefully. When someone truly cares, you do not have to perform for their eyes. You do not have to scream for their ears. You do not have to beg for their time. They offer it freely because their heart finds joy in giving it to you. Real attention, the kind that sustains the soul, is consistent, steady, and safe. It does not disappear when you turn your back. It does not vanish the moment you grow tired of running. It remains because it is rooted in truth. So many hearts are weary because they confuse fleeting attention for lasting love. They live off the high of being noticed for a moment, only to crumble when that moment fades. But lasting love is not a spark that flickers. It is a flame that endures. If their attention comes only when you chase it, it is not a flame. It is a trick of the light, gone as quickly as it came. You deserve better than that. You deserve a love that lingers, a love that stays, a love that does not need to be chased. There is dignity in letting go of what runs from you. There is power in saying, I will not exhaust myself for what does not want to be caught. Your soul was not made to pant endlessly in pursuit of half-hearted glances. Your spirit was not designed to beg for scraps of acknowledgement. You were created to stand tall, to be seen without effort, to be valued without question. If you must chase it, it was never yours. If you must constantly prove yourself to keep it, it is not love, it is performance. And performances are tiring, unsustainable, and empty. You cannot live your life on a stage where your worth is measured only by how well you can dance to someone else's tune. Love that is real does not ask you to perform. It asks you to be. And in your being, you are seen. When you finally stop chasing, something miraculous happens. You reclaim your energy. You reclaim your dignity. You reclaim your time. And you make space for the right people to arrive, the ones who do not demand pursuit, but instead meet you with presence. You stop running after shadows and start standing in the light of what is real. And in that light, you discover that love was never meant to tire you, never meant to exhaust you, never meant to leave you breathless in desperation. Love was meant to sustain you, to restore you, to give you rest. So if you find yourself chasing, pause. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself if the one who runs is truly worth the years you are wasting in pursuit. Ask yourself if this hunger, this ache, this exhaustion is what love is supposed to feel like. And if the answer is no, and deep down you already know it is, then let go. Step out of the chase. Stand still. Because attention that must be chased is not attention worth keeping, and the sooner you release it, the sooner you will make room for the love that is already on its way to meet you where you are. Rejection has a sting that no heart wishes to feel. It is sharp, it is sudden, it is heavy. It arrives without mercy, leaving behind silence, leaving behind emptiness, leaving behind the ache of unanswered questions. Yet in the very place where rejection bruises, there is a hidden gift. What feels like loss is often life itself whispering to you, not this way, not this person, not this path. What you call rejection is not an ending. It is a redirection toward your own strength. So many people crumble under the weight of being turned away. A closed door makes them believe they are unworthy. A denied opportunity makes them believe they are not enough. A lost love makes them believe they will never be chosen again. But the truth is this: rejection is not a verdict on your worth. It is not proof that you lack. It is not the world declaring you are insufficient. Rejection is simply life rerouting you, moving you out of places that cannot hold you, guiding you towards something greater, something stronger, something that belongs to you in truth. Think of a river. When it meets a rock too heavy to move, it does not stop. It does not give up. It does not turn bitter. It simply redirects, carving out a new path, flowing where it is meant to flow. The water does not curse the stone for standing in its way. It simply moves around it, continuing toward its destiny. You must learn to live like that river. Rejection is not a wall, it is a turn. It is life saying, go this way instead. We mistake rejection for punishment when often it is protection. That job you didn't get may have drained your soul. That friend who turned away may have betrayed your trust. That lover who walked out may have shackled your spirit. You see the pain of being pushed aside, but you do not see what dangers you were spared, what heartbreaks you were saved from, what smallness you were never meant to settle for. Rejection, though cruel in its arrival, often spares you from futures that would have broken you more than the moment ever could. And within rejection lies another truth. It wakes up your strength. It shows you what you are made of. When you are told no, when you are turned away, when you are overlooked, you discover the fire in you that refuses to be extinguished. You rise because you must. You stand because you cannot fall forever. You begin to see that your worth was never tied to the one who dismissed you. You begin to build yourself anew, stronger, firmer, surer than before. Without rejection, many would never discover their resilience. Without rejection, many would never rise into their true power. Do not despise the doors that close. They are saving you from wasting your steps. They are preventing you from giving your heart to what cannot hold it. They are protecting you from rooms too small for your spirit. Every no you hear, every silence you receive, every back that turns away is not the world ending. It is your story unfolding in the only way it can. The rejection is a guidepost pointing you in the direction of your own becoming. How many times have you looked back and whispered, "Thank God that did not work out"? The job you thought you needed, the love you thought would last, the people you thought you could not live without. How many of them would have destroyed you if they had stayed? What you thought was the end was really the beginning. What you thought was devastation was really liberation. Rejection is not cruelty, it is clarity. It is life removing what is not meant for you so that what is meant can arrive. But to receive this gift, you must shift your vision. You must stop treating rejection as proof of your weakness and begin to see it as proof of your direction. You must learn to say, if not here, then somewhere better. If not them, then someone truer. If not now, then in a time that will honor me. This is not denial. This is wisdom. This is trust in the unfolding of your life. When someone rejects you, it is not your job to beg for their acceptance. When a door shuts, it is not your job to pound your fist bloody against it. When life reroutes you, it is not your task to resist the turn. Your task is to walk forward. Your task is to keep moving. Your task is to stand tall in the knowledge that rejection is not about losing. It is about being redirected to where your strength will grow, where your soul will flourish, where your destiny will meet you. There will be days when rejection feels unbearable, nights when loneliness presses in, moments when you doubt that life is working in your favor. But strength is born in those very hours. Strength does not grow in ease. It grows when you are tested. It grows when you are refused. It grows when you are left to stand alone. And once it grows, once it blooms in you, you will never be the same. You will carry a dignity that no rejection can take, a confidence that no dismissal can steal, a fire that no closed door can extinguish. Rejection will come. It will wound you. It will disappoint you. It will shake you, but it will also shape you. It will carve you into someone who knows their worth cannot be dictated by others. It will guide you into spaces that were built for you, with people who will not overlook you, with opportunities that will not pass you by. Rejection is not the thief of your dreams. It is the compass pointing you toward the dreams that are truly yours. So let the rejection come and let it do its work. Do not chase those who walk away. Do not cling to doors that are locked. Do not waste your tears on places that cannot hold your greatness. Stand tall, trust the turn, believe in the redirection. For every no that life gives is an invitation to discover your strength, to find your true path, to rise into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. There is a posture the soul takes when desperation enters the heart. It is a posture of reaching, of clinging, of begging. It is the lowering of your crown, the bowing of your dignity, the silent belief that if you stretch yourself far enough, if you make yourself small enough, if you bend enough, you will finally be seen. But desperation never delivers what it promises. It does not draw love closer. It pushes it away. It does not invite respect. It invites dismissal. Desperation diminishes, but dignity elevates. Desperation is born when you believe that you must earn what should be freely given. When you believe you must beg for love, plead for attention, chase for acknowledgement, you strip yourself of the very truth that makes you whole, that you were already worthy before anyone decided to grant you their gaze. Desperation says, I am not enough, so I must perform. Dignity says, I am enough as I am, and I will not barter my worth. One diminishes the soul, the other elevates it. Look at the one who begs for crumbs of affection. Their days are filled with waiting, hoping for scraps, twisting themselves into shapes unrecognizable just to win a moment of notice. The more they chase, the more invisible they become. Desperation makes a person small, not because they are small, but because they have convinced themselves that shrinking is the only way to be loved. And yet, love that requires you to shrink is not love. It is control. It is neglect. It is dismissal. Now look at the one who walks in dignity. Their head is lifted, not in arrogance, but in truth. They do not bow to win attention. They do not crawl to earn love. They stand steady, sure, knowing that real love will meet them where they are. Dignity is not loud, but it is powerful. It commands respect without pleading for it. It demands recognition without chasing it. It is a quiet strength that speaks louder than desperation ever could. We are often fooled into thinking that desperation proves devotion. We believe that the more we fight for someone, the more we beg for them to stay, the more we run after them, the deeper our love must be. But the truth is that desperation proves nothing except that we have forgotten ourselves. It is not love that makes you beg. It is fear. Fear of being alone, fear of being unseen, fear of not being enough. Love is not found in desperation. Love is found in freedom. Love is found in choice, and when both hearts choose each other freely, there is dignity, there is honor, there is beauty. To live in desperation is to hand someone else the keys to your worth. It is to say, I cannot stand unless you hold me up. I cannot shine unless you notice me. I cannot exist unless you validate me. And in that exchange, you diminish yourself. But dignity refuses such a trade. Dignity says, I carry my own worth. I carry my own light. And I will not hand over the authority of who I am to anyone else. There is power in walking away from anything that demands your desperation. When you stop begging, you reclaim your strength. When you stop chasing, you reclaim your time. When you stop pleading for someone to see you, you finally begin to see yourself. And that vision, clear, undistorted, rooted in truth, is what elevates you. Dignity is not arrogance. It does not scream. It does not boast. It does not belittle. Dignity is steady. It is the quiet confidence that says, I know my worth and I will not compromise it. And because dignity is rooted in truth, it elevates not just you, but everyone who encounters you. For when you walk with dignity, you inspire others to do the same. You show them that they do not need to crawl, they do not need to beg, they do not need to shrink to be loved. They need only to stand whole as they are. But desperation, it steals. It steals your joy. It steals your peace. It steals the clarity of your spirit. It whispers lies in your ear. If you stop chasing, you will lose them. If you stop begging, they will leave. If you stop bending, they will forget you. And so you contort yourself day after day, only to discover that even in your desperation, they are already gone. Even in your begging, they are already looking away. Even in your shrinking, they still do not choose you. And then you are left not only without them, but without yourself. You must choose differently. You must choose dignity, for dignity cannot be taken, only surrendered. When you hold it close, when you guard it, when you let it lead your steps, it will raise you higher than desperation ever could. Dignity lifts your head when others try to bow it. Dignity steadies your feet when rejection tries to shake them. Dignity clothes you in worth, reminding you that no silence, no absence, no dismissal has the power to diminish you. There is a beauty in the one who refuses to beg, a beauty in the one who says, if you cannot see me as I am, then I will not force you. If you cannot love me as I am, then I will not twist myself into someone else. That is not pride. That is dignity. And dignity elevates the soul to heights where desperation can never reach. It is not easy. The heart wants to be held. The spirit longs to be seen. But love that requires desperation is not love. It is bondage. You do not need to chain yourself to the indifference of others. You do not need to grovel for the affection of those unwilling to give it. You do not need to surrender your crown just to sit at a table where you were never honored. Stand, hold your dignity, for in doing so, you will discover that real love does not demand your desperation. It celebrates your strength. And once you taste the power of dignity, you will never return to desperation again. You will learn that true connection flows freely, that attention given without being chased is the only attention worth keeping, that love which honors you is the only love worth receiving. And in that truth, you will rise. There comes a moment in every life when the heart must choose its direction. The world will pull you one way, desire will pull you another, fear will tug you backward, and longing will drag you in circles. In the middle of all this, you need something steady to guide you. You need a compass, a truth that does not bend, a star that does not dim. That compass is self-respect. Without it, you are lost. With it, you will never be led astray. Self-respect is not a garment you put on for others to see. It is not a mask you wear to pretend you are strong. It is an inner anchor, a quiet law written deep within your spirit that says, I will not abandon myself. It tells you when to stay and when to walk away. It whispers when to be silent and when to speak. It protects you from cheap bargains with your soul. And when you honor it, you rise in dignity, no matter how others treat you. Too often, people trade self-respect for the fleeting comfort of being wanted. They bend themselves into the shapes others demand. They stay silent when their spirit cries out for truth. They tolerate what they should never accept. And why? Because they are afraid. Afraid of being alone. Afraid of losing love. Afraid of standing tall in their own skin. But every time you betray yourself for the sake of keeping someone else, you lose more than them. You lose yourself. And nothing is more costly than that. Self-respect must be your compass because the heart can deceive you. The heart can chase shadows. The heart can hunger for what harms it. The heart can beg for love that does not love back. But self-respect will not deceive you. It will not chase what runs. It will not hunger for what poisons. It will not beg where there is no reciprocity. It will guide you back to truth. It will guide you back to yourself. Think of the traveler lost in the wilderness. The sun shifts, the stars hide, the landmarks vanish. Every turn looks the same, every path uncertain. But when the compass is in their hand, there is clarity. They may still be tired, they may still be afraid, but they are not lost, for the compass points them home. That is what self-respect does for you. Even in heartbreak, even in rejection, even in loneliness, self-respect points you back to the direction of your dignity. It reminds you who you are. There will be times when people try to convince you to lay it down. They will say, if you love me, you will let this go. If you want me, you will accept this treatment. If you care, you will stay silent. But self-respect will not allow you to bow to such demands. It will not allow you to sell your soul for the illusion of companionship. It will not allow you to trade your truth for the temporary comfort of approval. It will hold you upright. It will keep your crown upon your head. Do not confuse self-respect with pride. Pride is noisy, but self-respect is steady. Pride boasts to others, but self-respect speaks only within. Pride demands attention, but self-respect demands alignment. When you live with self-respect, you do not need to prove anything. You do not need to shout your worth into deaf ears. You do not need to beg for what should already be yours. You simply know, and in that knowing, you walk with a grace that no one can strip from you. When self-respect guides you, you learn to say no, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. You say no to the call that leaves you empty. You say no to the treatment that belittles you. You say no to the relationships that demand your silence. And every no you speak in the language of self-respect becomes a yes to your dignity. You are not rejecting love. You are rejecting what masquerades as love while draining your soul. There is strength in the one who can stand alone rather than kneel for false company. There is beauty in the one who would rather walk in solitude than walk in chains. Self-respect gives you that strength, that beauty. It teaches you that loneliness is lighter than bondage, that solitude is safer than self-betrayal, that peace is greater than attention. And when you let self-respect lead you, you will find that the right people meet you there. Those who truly honor you are not threatened by your boundaries. Those who truly love you do not demand you to shrink. Those who truly belong in your life will celebrate the way you carry yourself with dignity. They will not run from your strength. They will rise to meet it. But first, you must choose it. You must decide that you will not abandon yourself, not for love, not for fear, not for anyone. You must decide that your compass is sacred, that your inner voice matters, that your dignity is non-negotiable. Once you do, you will never again be lost in the wilderness of chasing, of begging, of diminishing. You will walk with clarity, with confidence, with calm. Life will test you. There will be voices that tempt you to surrender your compass. There will be storms that make you question your direction. There will be nights when loneliness whispers that compromise would be easier. But do not lay it down. Hold your self-respect close. Let it point you home again and again. For with it, you will never lose yourself. And without it, you will never find yourself. And when you walk in that truth, you become unshakable. No rejection can undo you. No silence can erase you. No dismissal can diminish you. Because your compass, your self-respect, will keep you upright. And in that strength, you will find freedom. So many souls spend their lives running after affection, running after attention, running after validation that always seems just out of reach. They chase people who turn away. They beg doors to open that were never meant for them. They plead for love that will not stay. In that endless chase, they grow weary. They grow bruised. They grow hungry for something real. But here is the truth. Love was never meant to be hunted like prey. Love is meant to find you, not when you are chasing, not when you are pleading, but when you are still enough, whole enough, brave enough to let it come. To stop running is not weakness. It is courage, the kind of courage that says, I will no longer exhaust my spirit on people who cannot see me. I will no longer waste my breath calling after those who refuse to turn their heads. I will no longer shrink myself for scraps of attention. Stopping does not mean you are giving up. It means you are waking up. It means you are realizing that love that must be chased will never bring peace, and peace is what love was always meant to be. When you stand still, something powerful happens. The frantic noise quiets. The desperation dissolves. The mirror of your soul clears. And you can see yourself again. You can see your worth without needing someone else to confirm it. You can feel your beauty without needing applause. You can hear your own voice without drowning in the voices of others. And when you finally stand in that stillness, you make space for love to find you. Not the imitation, not the performance, not the temporary shelter, but love in its truest, most enduring form. Many confuse running with effort. They believe that if they do not chase, they will miss their chance. They believe that without constant pursuit, they will be overlooked. But love is not a race. Love is not something you catch by speed. The more you run, the further away you push it, because true love is not drawn to desperation. It is drawn to dignity. It is drawn to self-respect. It is drawn to the soul that knows its worth so deeply that it does not beg, it does not plead, it simply waits. To stand still is to trust that the universe does not play games with your heart, to trust that what is meant for you cannot be stolen by another, to trust that you are not so unworthy that you must beg for crumbs when a feast was always intended for you. Trusting requires patience. And patience is a discipline of the soul. It asks you to quiet your fears, to silence the lie that says you must prove yourself lovable, to remember that you already are. When you stop running, you also stop bleeding, because every chase leaves scars. Every pursuit of someone unwilling to be caught leaves wounds of rejection, emptiness, and shame. You begin to believe that if you had been faster, prettier, smarter, softer, maybe they would have stayed. But running was never the answer. Standing still, holding your ground, refusing to betray your dignity, that is where healing begins. It is in stillness that your heart learns to close its wounds and open its arms to the love that truly belongs to you. And the love that finds you when you are still, it looks different. It is not loud and fleeting. It is not conditional and cruel. It is steady. It is quiet strength. It does not arrive because you begged for it. It does not arrive because you performed for it. It arrives because your spirit aligned with it. The love that finds you honors your worth. It does not demand your chase because it is walking toward you as you stand in your truth. Standing still does not mean inactivity. It does not mean passivity. It means living fully and unapologetically in your own light. It means pouring into yourself, nurturing your dreams, tending to your joy, and carrying yourself with dignity. It means filling your own cup until you are no longer thirsty for validation. It means radiating so fully in your authenticity that those who come toward you are not drawn by your desperation, but by your strength. Let others run in circles. Let others exhaust themselves in pursuit of what will never satisfy. You, stand still. Stand in your worth. Stand in your truth. Stand in your quiet confidence. For it is there, in the strength of your stillness, that love will recognize you. Love is not blind. It knows where it belongs. It is not lost. It knows the path to you, but it cannot find you if you are constantly running away from yourself in the chase of someone else. When you finally stop running, you realize something profound. You were never unloved. You were never unworthy. You were only misdirected. Love was always moving toward you, but your running only kept you from seeing it. By standing still, you allow love to catch you, not because you begged, but because you finally became ready. So take a breath, drop the weight of pursuit, release the ache of endless chasing, plant your feet firmly on the ground of your dignity, lift your head high with the grace of self-respect, and trust that what belongs to you will not pass you by. Love does not need to be hunted. It only needs to be welcomed. So stop chasing people who ignore you. Stop watering barren soil, hoping for flowers that will never bloom. Stop dimming your own light in rooms where no one looks your way. Stand tall in your truth, in your worth, in your dignity, because when you no longer waste your steps on those who overlook you, you make room for those who will treasure you. And that, my beloved, is where your freedom begins.